Hi guys, Diane here, and today we're going to do something a little different. I have a sci-fi book I'm going to review. It's called The Unpleasant Profession of Jonathan Hoag, so stick around and we'll get into it. Okay, so a quick overview for The Unpleasant Profession of Jonathan Hoag. The book is about Jonathan Hoag. He's our main character, and he is kind of confused. He's kind of like a goober almost. He doesn't really remember. He doesn't remember where he works. He doesn't remember like people in his life. He doesn't remember like what he does for a living. All he knows is he has like this weird residue under his fingernails. He has like certain stains on his clothes. He doesn't know what they are. He's just very confused, and he's almost getting to the point where he's like panicking because he's like, I don't know what I do. I don't know. I don't have any family or anyone really like solidifying my life, like what is going on. So long story short, he goes to hire a private detective. He hires a private detective couple, a husband and a wife, Ted and Cynthia. And so they are like, okay, this guy's got to be pulling our chain because he's offering them a lot of money. Like, I'll pay you, like this book's really old. So he's like, I'll pay you $20 a day. And they're like, oh my gosh. And so they pay him, a substantial amount of money to follow him around. And they're like, okay, this dude's weird, but whatever. We need the money, so let's do it. So they start following him around, and they're like, this is so easy. We're just going to follow him to work and whatever. And soon they start finding out that they start kind of swapping stories like, oh, I saw him on 5th Street at 12:05. And the husband's like, well, I saw him somewhere else at the same time. And so they start realizing that their stories are conflicting when they're following him. So they're both seeing him in different places, and they're starting to question, like, who is this? How is he doing this? They follow him to the 13th floor of his building, which there isn't a 13th floor. And, when they go back to check their story, there isn't even a 13th floor. Also, there are some beings in the mirror that they start to see, and it's just so weird. Everything's just they're starting to wonder, like, is it really worth following this guy? Like, do we really need the money that bad? So it just goes from there, and you can, without giving away too much. The book is so short, so the synopsis is going to be pretty short because I don't want to obviously give anything away. But yeah, this book is definitely weird, definitely strange. So the length and the pacing of this book, like I kind of mentioned earlier, it's only like 214 pages. It's super short. I mean, they pack a lot into 200 pages, and it's written in like 1940 something, so it is dated, like the language is dated, and they're like, hey, dame, and like stuff like that. It reminds me of a lot of like a Twilight Zone episode where it's, and when I was reading it, I was kind of seeing it like black and white just because that's just kind of how it felt, and everything was like, it just felt very, very old, which I think was part of like the charm of the book. But as you're reading it, I didn't feel like the pacing was slow. Like I said, it's only like 200 pages. So it's, if it feels slow, it's not going to last that long. But it was really, it kept moving, and there was always like something weird that was going on that you were anxious to find out, like, why is that happening or what? Or like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I felt like that part of the book was really fun because it made you want to keep reading. Okay, so there's really only like 3 or 4 characters in this book. You have Jonathan Hoag, which is kind of like a goober. I mean, he's not an idiot. I mean, he's not stupid or anything. It's just he doesn't know. He's very naive. Like, he just feels very naive, and he doesn't know he doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, you do feel bad for him also because, I mean, how jarring would that be? You wake up, you don't know like what's going on. You don't really have an understanding of your life. So, you do feel sorry for him. But he's a likable character, and you want to help him find out you know, what's going on and why he can't remember like his life. And Ted and Cynthia, they're like a married couple. They seem to have a real good connection. They seem to have like a good marriage. They have a good life that they've built together. And they are a team. You know, they work together and they kind of help each other out. The dynamic between them is, you know, kind of funny, and, you know, there's, you know, some banter back and forth, and, you know, you can tell they really love each other and they trust each other. So that's nice. And I think the only other character that really makes any real difference to the story is there's a doctor, and I think that's about it, really, honestly. And, you know, there's other people in the book, but as far as like the main characters that are really making a difference in the story, I think that's really about it. So twists, there were a few twists in this book that I was pretty shocked at the end of the book. I was like, I just didn't see that coming. That's not where my mind went with this book. I don't read a lot of science fiction, so, you know, maybe people who do may see it coming. I seriously doubt it, but maybe. And but there were some good twists in it that I felt were, you know, surprising and really helped with the story. And, you know, there are a lot of memorable moments that were creepy. It is an older book, so it's not like outright like in your face creepy, but it is like a fun creepy. Like I said, it feels more like a Twilight Zone episode. It feels dated, but in a good way, like a good, clean way. This is more like a book that you would kind of cleanse your palate for something darker, I guess. It's not super dark, which I did enjoy, and I did like that part, like that aspect of the book. But yeah, for twists and memorable moments, you know, there were some really good twists. And like I said, I think the biggest twist obviously probably comes at the end. But yeah. I really enjoyed this book. I really thought that I was kind of blind going into it. I had kind of just saw the cover on Audible, and I was just like, oh, I'm just going to do it. Whatever. It's science fiction, just a break from horror, and just to see, you know, what it's about. Sometimes I like to go in blind just to be like more surprised. And this book was a pleasant surprise, and it was a lot of fun. You know, like I said, it's dated, but in a good way. It feels kind of homey, kind of cozy, like on a rainy day, kind of the vibe that it gave me. And I would probably recommend this really to anybody. I just felt like it was such a good story. It was so, it was creepy, but it wasn't like scary. It wasn't like, even I feel like I could let my 13-year-old daughter read this just because it was like fun, but it was entertaining. But it also had that element of strange and you know, you just didn't know exactly where it was going, which is, you know, always a fun part of a book. So I would definitely recommend this to pretty much anybody. I would give this book probably an 8 out of 10 just because I didn't find anything wrong with the book. I didn't feel like it ended too soon or there was any like real flaw with it. It just felt really seamless and easy to read and easy to follow. And I really liked the ending, and, you know, all the characters I felt were all meshed well together. So yeah, but if you want to, you know, just try something new and get out of your comfort box a little and, you know, try some sci-fi, I would definitely recommend this book. And so if you like this video, just please like and subscribe.